last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and battered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. Very good evening. Welcome to FA Cup Live as we continue our coverage of the 5th round of the Emirates FA Cup. And after 2 ties down, there are still 6 huge games to come in the 5th round, and a big one tonight at the Stok Cae Ras as Wrexham take on Chelsea here this evening. A 5:45 kickoff. And excuse me, just to let you know, Wrexham have already knocked out Premier League opposition, but a Chelsea side who've won their last 2 FA Cup games away at EFL sides. So one should and will continue that form tonight, we'll see. All across the weekend, Liverpool 3-1 winners last night away at Wolves, and a repeat of that Premier League tie from midweek, but Liverpool come out winners this time. Arsenal 2-1 winners away at Mansfield. We'll watch that game a little earlier. Equalizes goal, the winner in that one for the Gunners, and through to the quarterfinals for the first time since they won it back in 2020. Wrexham taking on Chelsea is our feature game at 5:45. Also still to come in the FA Cup, Newcastle take on Manchester City. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff this evening. In the Sunday action, lunchtime tomorrow, Fulham host Southampton. Sunderland head to Port Vale, and Leeds United welcome Norwich City. That's at 4:30 tomorrow. We'll have that game live here on LFS. And on Monday night, we round off round 5, conclude it all with West Ham against Brentford in an all-Premier League tie on Monday evening. Now remember, also on Monday night, the draw for the quarter-finals of the FA Cup will take place before kick-off in the West Ham Brentford game on Monday night, around about 7:10. That is a 7:30 kick-off. But before all that, we need to get some names in the hat. 2 already in the hat. Liverpool and Arsenal, 2 away Premier League sides winning already this weekend. Will Chelsea join them, or will Wrexham's magic in this competition, and in any competition really, over the last few years, will it continue, and will they be able to see off Liam Rosenior's Chelsea? We will see. Big game tonight for these 2 teams who've got their own domestic and their own league battles ongoing. Chelsea battling for Champions League football, and that big win over Villa in midweek. We'll talk all about that as well as the evening goes on. And Wrexham, they've got a promotion push of their own. They're in the playoff places and have been aided with some results in the Championship this afternoon. None other than Hull's defeat at home to Millwall. Huge for Wrexham, and we'll see and talk about their league campaign as well. That is still very bright for them between now and the end of the season. But it is all eyes in the Emirates FA Cup 5th round as we welcome Wrexham and Chelsea. Let's have a look at the 2 teams then for this one, starting with Wrexham. And that man, Arthur Okonkwo, who made those amazing saves not only in-game and in the penalty shootout in the 3rd round win over Nottingham Forest. A back 3/back 5 of Longman, Clayworth, Chiam, the captain, Doyle and Thomason. In midfield, Dobson is alongside Viner, with a front three of Ollie Rathbone, Lewis O'Brien, I was getting it right, and Sam Smith through the middle. On the bench for Phil Parkinson's side, Ward, Scar, Brunt, Windass, Barnett, Rodriguez, Keeler Dunn, Broadhead and Kiefer Moore. For Chelsea, well, it looks like a bit of a change of approach. We thought it was a back four, but now we believe it's a back three for Chelsea. Robert Sanchez starts in goal. We believe wing backs to be Jarell Hato and Josh Achiempong, with the three centre-backs Tosin, Badiashile and Mamadou Sarr. In midfield, Romeo Lavia alongside Andre Santos, with Neto in the wide areas alongside Garnacho on opposite wings, and Liam Delap leading the Chelsea line. On the bench for the Blues, Sharman Lowe, Gusto, Chalaba, James, Cucurella, Derry, Usugo, Gui and Pedro. No Cole Palmer. Interesting for Chelsea. We'll talk more about that. It is Wrexham against Chelsea in the FA Cup 5th round from the Stok Cae Ras in Wales. Kick-off is next. A very good evening. Welcome to FA Cup Live. Thank you very much for joining us in what is our second game of this 5th round in the Emirates FA Cup. And already 2 away wins on the board from the 2 ties that have already been decided. But what will we see here tonight? A Chelsea team who, as I said, have gone away to Charlton and thumped them 5-1 and went away to Hull and won comfortably there as well. Can they do the same away at Wrexham, a place that not many are able to come away with a victory at? Certainly not. Wrexham, their last home defeat was at exactly 4 weeks today when Millwall came to the Stok Cae Ras and won 2-0. They're unbeaten and actually have won each of their last 3 home league games, or home games in all competitions, including against Ipswich in the FA Cup 4th round. So 3 rounds in a row at home, and they're hoping their lucky charm of this stadium continues tonight, Wrexham. Nottingham Forest and Ipswich to the sword. Will Chelsea be next, the 8-time winners of this competition? Or will Chelsea head towards the last 8 and into the quarter-finals and looking to get a trophy under the belt of Liam Rosenior? Something they couldn't do when it came to the League Cup, when Arsenal knocked them out of the semi-finals of that. The FA Cup will take precedence. Let's see how they fare as we get ready to get underway here. Wrexham, of course, in their home strip, red shirts, white shorts, red and white socks. Chelsea in all blue with white socks, and we get underway in the Stok Cae Ras for this one this evening. And you gotta say, there's always an energy about this stadium. Every game we watch, it's always exciting, it's always full of energy and belief that they can beat anybody here. And you've had 3 back-to-back-to-back promotions, making this place a real fortress. Why wouldn't you believe that you can beat anybody here? Chelsea with a little bit of a adjusted approach, which is going to be very interesting for this one. With that back 3 now, rather than the back 4 that we've seen very often under Liam Rosenior. Albeit it can kind of morph into a back 3 in possession at times, but an out back 3/back 5 is an interesting approach from the Chelsea manager. There's a loose ball there by Longman, gives it away to Delap, and now Garnacho down the left here for Chelsea. Garnacho's ball fired across the area. Neto just about kept it alive, as did Santos. Here is Pedro Neto. Romeo Lavia. And of course, Pedro Neto got a red card against Arsenal in the league game last weekend. Of Of course, was suspended for the Aston Villa game in midweek, but back in action. Not affected for this one. Here he is on the ball, the number 7 for Chelsea. Gives it away. Straight at Callum Doyle. As he tried to play it towards Sam Smith. Nicely intercepted by Tosin. Although that ball is well over hits from Chelsea. And a goal kick. Well, of course, as I said, Chelsea's win over Aston Villa in the week was a massive booster in terms of their race for the Champions League. That win put them above Liverpool, who'd lost to Wolves in the week, and within 3 points of 3rd place and 4th place, Man United and Aston Villa. And with a much stronger goal difference than the team directly above them, Chelsea. But a lot of football to be played and a lot of tough games still on the horizon for the Blues. And there's a lot of this season still to be played, and a huge game coming in midweek when they head to Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League round of 16. The reigning champions of Europe. But this one is key. Before all of that, only played 2 games in the FA Cup this season, Chelsea. They've already scored 9 goals. 5 against Charlton and a 5-1 victory, and 4 against Hull in round 4. So they certainly know how to find the net in this competition. Wrexham, not strangers to high-scoring games here at the racecourse. And one most recently as well, actually, for Wrexham. That 5-3 win over Ipswich back in a few weeks ago. I think 2 weeks ago. They won 5-3. An incredible game. They were down in that game. 3-2 down and clawed it all the way back to win 5-3. An incredible game. And that's not been too uncommon when it comes to games here over the last few seasons. Tosin. Badiashile. Into Romeo Lavia. Sarr. Neto. Santos. Nice play from Chelsea. Oh, Lavia was a little loose and picked up well by Viner. Here he is. Viner. And goes all the way back, nicely retrieved to Dominic Hayam. Here's the Wrexham captain. Back to Okonkwo, who will knock it long. Looking for Sam Smith's running behind, but Tosin had it all under control. Guided it out to Mamadou Sarr. At Champo. Lavia. Santos. Looking options, but squares it to Lavia, who will play it out to the left for Badiashile. Now Garnacho. Going down the line, has to turn back to Badiashile though. Chelsea controlling the ball as you would expect. Not going very far with it though. To this point, Badiashile tries a change of approach, flicks it in behind, looking for the run of Garnacho. He will chase. Just about kept it in play, but Dominic Hayam will have that cross dealt with, and out for the Chelsea throw. Went a little bit more direct there, Chelsea, and one for Garnacho to chase. And you know, that could be the danger for, I mean, it's obvious when you say it, but wingers with pace are always a danger in behind, but it's something Chelsea will always have at their benefit. It's just about end product, and that's where they need to be consistent. You can burst with pace, and Pedro Neto and Alejandro Garnacho is what's on the end of it. That's another direct ball in behind, too far for Pedro Neto to chase. Goal kick to Wrexham. They're comfortable, allowing Chelsea to have the ball and try and play some passes. They've got their markers, they know who to track, and they're not leaving any gaps or spaces for Chelsea to try and exploit early doors here. I don't expect this to be an easy run-of-the-mill type victory for Chelsea. It's going to be far from that. It's going to be a really difficult cup tie. You know, don't want to overstate it, but the point I would say still stands. Wrexham, I think, if you had to kind of look at all of the teams in this competition, an away game at Wrexham is something that I don't think many teams would fancy. Robert Sanchez taking his time, and he's going to go long. The lap was beaten to it by Hayam. Nicely retrieved as Hayam tries to fire it up the field. A loose ball by Santos. Picked up by Dobson, who tried to find Smith in behind, but well blocked out by Mamadou Sarr. Lavia. Down the right to Josh Achiampong. Back inside to Lavia. Back to Tosin and Mamadou Sarr. Apologies for the yawning. I do apologise. Garnacho battling but losing out in his battle with Longman. Viner trying to feed it in behind to try and find the wide runner in Longman, but well marshalled, and that's really good strong play by Badia Shield, but Jarell Hato on the scene and he couldn't keep it in play. Wrexham throw. Well, Wrexham and Chelsea haven't met in any competition since February 1982 when the Welsh side won 1-0 in a league game. One of two wins Wrexham have registered in 9 games against Chelsea. Drawn 3 and lost 4. Their most recent game they played was a club friendly back in July of 2024, and it finished 2-2. Well, I gotta say, there's always a shot of these two when they're in town. Rob McElhenney and of course Ryan Reynolds, Hollywood owners of Wrexham. Transforming a football club. Thomason. Doyle trying to feed it in behind. Plucked out of the air, but the flag's gone up against Lewis O'Brien. Ten minutes gone here at the Stok Cae Ras, or the racecourse grounds in Wrexham. And it is goalless. Not much goal-mouth action to this point. Actually, neither side have had a shot yet in the early moments of this game. It's been a lot of Chelsea possession without any real outlet. Wrexham fighting for it back, and they do win it back here. Hayam down the left-hand side, Thomason. Doyle trying to reverse it in behind to find Smith's run. Always trying to find Sam Smith on those runs in behind are Wrexham, but a couple of times well caught out. Liam Delap drops a little deeper, helps Chelsea on the move. Neto cuts inside from the right, trying to link it up, but loses his balance as he does so. And that's going to be a free kick here to Wrexham as they try and break away. Foul committed there on Lewis O'Brien. That's going to be a free kick. Josh Achiampong, I think that was. You can see it here. Neto just kind of folds over. It's actually Mamadou Sarr who commits the foul. A referee for this one, Peter Banks, and of course in every round, every game in the round 5, the FA Cup, there is VAR. And after what we saw, some really poor refereeing in round 4, it's an interesting change, but partly for few. for quite a few, kind of a positive change and a welcome change for the competition. Although, of course, sort of the EFL side's very unusual with VAR, the likes of Mansfield, Wrexham, and then even in tomorrow's games, you know, although Southampton will have had history with it, but Norwich will have as well, but Port Vale wouldn't have either. So there's certain sides that first experiences with VAR will be in this competition. Thomason heading out there for a throw-in on the far side. And they're trying to bypass the midfield, Chelsea. That is quite clear. So far, the defenders 1v1 are just winning their battles. That's for both teams, to be fair. This is kind of the point, and kind of what I was thinking about before the game. This game could go one of two ways. The defenders could get really physical, really kind of strong, and it could be one of those really tight, cagey games. Or we could have a really open, free-flowing game where both sides just come out of the traps and are like, yeah, we want to score goals, we want to create big chances, and let's hope we get that sort of game. It's Callum Doyle there committing the foul on Andre Santos. Ooh, PM there, forced into a clearance. Liam Delap's presence was enough to put him into clearing that ball away from danger. It's a little bit under hit, really. Ultimately, PM got rid of it. Well, I have to say that the last Wrexham game that I commentated on was the Nottingham Forest game in round 3. And I still remember it, the Friday night. It started round 3. It got our coverage of the competition this season off and running, and what a way it was. It went all the distance, lots of goals, lots of drama, and then a penalty shootout to boot. It was really, really fantastic to start the season's competition, and it was a joy to watch. There's Garnacho there, clipped by Longman. It's going to be a free kick. That'll be another aspect of the game for Chelsea. You know, they'll not be afraid to dig in, these Wrexham defenders. Put some challenges in, and it's all about Chelsea being smart. Neto to Lavia. Lavia well marshalled again. A little bit weak on the ball there, if I'm honest, but he's done well to win it back. It's nicely done. Here's Neto. Wide to Achiampong. Breaking down the right channel, firing the ball into the box, but hooked away by Dobson. And that's gone for a Chelsea throw. Yeah, I was initially critical of Romeo Lavia there. Just easily beaten off the ball on a couple of occasions, but he did really well to win it back and get Chelsea back on the front foot. And a mixed bag of a first 15 minutes or so as Romeo Lavia. Chelsea have had over 75% possession in the first 15-16 minutes. Again, as I said, either side are yet to have their first shots. Finer again. Got the ball back and on the half turn. Fired it up the field towards Sam Smith, but again, far too far ahead of the centre forward. Struggling to get Sam Smith into the game early doors here, Wrexham, when they do have the ball, which is usually a key for them. A key outlet in their play. Sam Smith. Occupied defenders, but can also really kind of make those deeper runs in behind. That's a nice ball into Garnacho, who came central. Santos trying to flick it over the top for Delap, but Hiam with a header. Bounces in the middle, Viner. Brings it back down to Dobson now. Hiam back across to Callum Doyle, who tries to find Smith in behind. He took a touch. He's away, and he slotted home. One shot, one goal. I said they'd struggle to find Sam Smith so far, Wrexham. Well, they found him there, and he found the back of the nets. And the Championship side take the lead against Premier League Chelsea. First chance of the game for either team, and it's 1-0 to Wrexham. Sam Smith, fantastic. Long ball right up the middle, plucked out of the air, charging in behind 1v1, and rolled it past Robert Sanchez to give the home side the lead. See it here. Is it Doyle? I think it's Tosin that plays him on side, but the ball is scintillating. The touch to take it out of the air. Yeah, it is. It's Callum Doyle. You see this touch with the left foot. Fabulous. Sets it up. Gets ahead of him. And he knows exactly what to do from then on in. Racing to the ball against Badia's Shield. And just tucks it in the bottom corner. Sanchez backtracking. Didn't ever set himself. And when he did, it was too late. Wrexham 1, Chelsea 0. Well, they are checking. Of course, VAR involved. They are checking the goal. From what I could see, now it was a very strange angle. It's not a clear and obvious angle. It's a very kind of strange looking angle. But the semi-automated system confirming that Sam Smith is onside. It just looked like the right leg of Tosin was just playing him onside. And that's confirmed. And Wrexham take the lead. "18 minutes in, and the home side in front. And this, I said it, the biggest test Chelsea have had in this competition this season. And already, within 18 minutes, find themselves behind. Albeit they conceded an early goal against Aston Villa in the week and ended up coming from 1-0 down to win 4-1. So never rule them out, but it's another tough start on the road for Chelsea. And I gotta say, it's the first chance of the first shot of the game. And Wrexham take the lead. It's perfect. The perfect start. And if this stadium needed any more energy, needed any more atmosphere than it already has, if there is ever a little glimmer that it can get any more, well, it certainly had it. There's Lavia. As Chelsea look to respond quickly. Neto back heels at the Badia's Shield, out wide to Garnacho. Garnacho to Neto. And everybody back, sitting in, comfortable, off the ball. Chelsea not really moving them around much. Lavia, Sarr, out wide to Achiampong. Back to Mamadou Sarr. Well, we're due an upset this weekend. Where will that come? At the moment, an upset is very much on the cards here, albeit only after 21 minutes. But the hosts have given themselves an advantage. Garnacho, burst past Longman, flicks it inside. Early cross from Hato is too close to Okonkwo, who was watching it all the way and made easy work of the cross. Well, Chelsea have faced Wrexham in one previous FA Cup tie, needing 2 replays in the 1981-82 fourth round to knock them out. The Blues have won 6 of the last 8 away games in Wales in all competitions, including a 3-1 win at Cardiff in the League Cup this season. 2 replays. Well, thankfully, gone are the days of replays in this competition. We want a winner here and now, and we will have one no matter what happens tonight. Of course, extra time and penalties if necessary. There's going to be a yellow card coming out here. It's Romeo Lavia that's going to get booked. Just for a pull back there on Viner. That's got Romeo Lavia, the first booking of the evening. Free kick here to Wrexham in Chelsea's half. Nice little 1-2, and that's a ball in behind, a flick on! And Sanchez has to make the save. The flag was up anyway, but that was a lovely little flick. And it had Robert Sanchez worried. And rightfully so, it should have. Although I think Clearworth was offside, and he was. Yeah, good half yard offside, and lovely little flick, but did it from an illegal position on the field. Here's Delap holding it up against Dominic Hiam. Oh, lovely from Hato. Feeds it into Pedro Neto. He's looking for options. He cuts it back across, and it's behind Achempong. He was chasing in. He does pick it up though. Lavia. And a little bit disjointed, Chelsea. 1 or 2 lacking in sharpness so far. Neto goes for the deep cross. Cleared away by Hiam again. Tosin. Sarr. Tosin on the halfway line. The Chelsea side who've continued to have over 70% possession in the first 24.5 minutes, but are yet to register a shot. And flags up here actually against a Chelsea player. Pedro Neto coming back from an offside position. Free kick to Wrexham. As we see it from above. Race course ground. That's another hopeful ball. That time Tosin should have all control over it. Oh, and he plays it off a Wrexham player there in O'Brien, out for the Chelsea throw. As the referee makes sure they take the throw in from the correct position, Chelsea. Delap, well marshalled. Doyle finds the little half space. No room to manoeuvre there further forward, but mopped up by Hiam again. Doyle takes it down under pressure. Got a little caught there, and it's now left the space in behind. And here come Chelsea on the breakaway. It's Neto. He's got options in the middle. Neto. Back post. Garnacho. Going for the return ball with that shot. Headed away. Still alive. Neto. Santos with a cross. Blocked by the first man. Smith back to help out and hooked clear of danger. A little bit of a foot race by Shield here off the back of Smith. And Viner there too, but ultimately Chelsea deal with it. And as I said, Chelsea have won just one of the last 3 games. That was away at Aston Villa in the week. They lost to Arsenal previously, and then at home to Burnley they dropped points as well. In terms of their away form, it's been a little bit topsy-turvy, albeit the only place they've actually lost under Liam Messina away from home under his managerialship was Arsenal. Every other away game that he has managed to this point they have won. 6 wins and 2 defeats away from home as Chelsea boss for Liam Messina, and both defeats have come away at Arsenal in the League Cup and in the league. He's won away at Charlton, Palace, Napoli, Wolves, Hull and Aston Villa. Of course, he did watch on as Fulham beat Chelsea at Craven Cottage, but he wasn't technically in charge by that point. His first game in charge was Charlton away in the FA Cup 3rd round. Here's Garnacho. Back to Buddy Shield. Tosin, nice start. 28 minutes gone. Chelsea looking to script their way back to level pegging after Wrexham took the lead with the only shot of the game that they had had till that point. Still one of only 2 shots in the game as a whole. 1 out for each team. Lovely from Callum Doyle there. Beautiful footwork. And now he's trying to find Smith in behind again. He's away again, Sam Smith. He's in behind. He cuts back across. Felt he was held, but he just lost his balance there. Could have just went for the shot. It's a difficult angle, but you don't shoot, you don't score. And he cuts back inside and just loses his balance. Again, that ball is always on. Beautiful from Callum Doyle, I have to say, to keep the possession previously and then feeds that ball through to Smith, who just broke off the back of his defender. And it was in again. Lavia. Sorry to Neto. Across to Lavia. Right, Badia Shield. And the left is Garnacho. Looking for options. Many for him. Further forward and squares it back across to Lavia. And plays it across to Mamadou Sarr. At Chiampong. Back to Sarr. Yeah, looked a little bit one-dimensional, Chelsea, in the first half. Get the ball wide and try and do something, but not much really coming through. And Liam Delap struggled to get involved in the game too much. Garnacho and Delap scrapping for that one. Neto trying to follow up, but again, Wrexham full clean control to clear it away. The most involved Chelsea players have been their centre-backs. So much possession, but so little goal threat. Excuse me, to this point. That's a nice little combination play, and no room past Okonkwo though when he came on the scene. See this again. This chance for Doyle. Beautiful ball. Swung around the outside for Smith. Smith, he should have just took it on the shot, and he tried to come back inside. And he just kind of lost his balance, slipped a little bit, and allowed Tosin to recover the situation. But another example of the threat in behind from Sam Smith. Lavia. Delap coming a little deeper to try and help out, but couldn't link it up ultimately. Smith lays it back to Rathbone, who does a lovely little reverse pass. Finds Longman down the right hand side. They're in again here. Longman gets past Badia Shield, tries to go himself. And Robert Sanchez had to throw an arm on it to clear it away. Corner it will be. See it here, Longman. He's got not many options in the middle. He goes for goal, and it might have just either hit the crossbar or dipped under it at the last second. But Robert Sanchez had to throw an arm, and it took a deflection off Paddy Shield on the way through. And Sanchez had to make sure it went over the top. Corner it will be. And this is the first corner of the game. Left-footed delivery to the back post. Up and cleared away well. Picked up by Thomason, though, on the rebound. Oh, and Dobson has to chase back to keep a hold of the possession, but does well. Gets it back to Okonkwo under no real danger. We'll go long now, Okonkwo. Over the head of Smith. Header won by Paddy Shield. Brought down by Delap, but wrestled back by George Dobson. Longman, Cleworth, into Dobson. Lovely little ball, played into Rathbone. Has to play it back again to Cleworth. Good possession though this from Wrexham. Dobson finds Smith, who lays it off to Rathbone. Longman down the side. Longman will chase this. Wrestling with Tosin, to come across and clears it away. Wrexham having a bit of possession of their own. It's just they say that they almost mess it up, and they do. And it's Delap, plays it to Neto. Now Garnacho down the left. And Garnacho has no way through. Two bodies in the way, Dobson and Cleworth. And that's another hopeful ball towards Smith, who drops deep to help out. Wanted a foul, not going to be given one, but Wrexham do keep a hold of the ball. Fighting for every ball at the minute, the Wrexham players. At the moment, just showing more than Chelsea in this game. It's been a pretty lacklustre first half from the Blues. We've barely posed any sort of threat, really, to this point. Barely in the game, Chelsea. All the possession they've had, but they've done almost literally nothing with it. 11 minutes of the first half to go, which is absolutely flew by the way. This first 45. Still another 10 to go, but Smith, again with a hold-up play, does well to see off Tosin's threat, but Rathbone spots the crossfield ball. Taken in by Thomason. O'Brien was again shielding, and Mamadou Sarr shoving him over. That's going to be a Wrexham free kick. I have to say, Wrexham seem to have comfort on the ball. The decision making, excuse me. The decision making from the Wrexham players really does seem to be much more concise and in sync than Chelsea at the moment. They look a little bit lost, Chelsea, when they're in possession. Lacking ideas, lacking space to exploit, room to manoeuvre. At the minute, the personnel they have are players that love to find space in behind, love to run into areas and drag players out of position. So far, they've not been able to do that whatsoever. Wrexham haven't fallen into any sort of trap of being dragged out of position. They've been compact, they've been stubborn, they've been controlled in and out of possession. And Chelsea have really struggled so far to break that down. Well, for the first time since the 1996-97 season, Wrexham are into the FA Cup 5th round. That season is one of 3 times the Red Dragons have progressed to the quarter-finals, and they beat Birmingham 3-1 in 2 separate seasons, actually, along with the 73-74 season and 77-78 season. Could they repeat those previous feats and reach the quarter-finals once again this campaign? Doyle Rathbone trying to find Callum Doyle. He stood up there alongside his man. He's going to try and shoot. Measured up for it. And he's got the corner out of the situation. The man who was trying to feed those balls in behind for Sam Smith, he's the one on the end of a pass through the lines now. Doyle works an angle to try and get a shot off, and as he does, Chelsea smother around the area of it. And Paddy Shield with a block puts it behind for the corner. Finding threat and space everywhere here, Wrexham. And if anything, they're pushing for a second. George Dobson is the one that's going to take this corner. Right footed delivery away at the near post. Whipped back in though by Thomason. Nice idea, but couldn't find a red shirt. Garnacho though plays it back to his goalkeeper. Well, so far, so good for the home side. Barely been threatened and pose a consistent threat, you got to say, at the other ends. Exactly what Phil Parkinson would have been wishing for. His team fighting for every ball, whether it's possible to win it or not. They're tussling for every little inch, every half yard, every opportunity that comes their way, and in and out of possession, they've really epitomised energetic. Down the line it goes at Chempong's low cross. Doyle with a step in to clear it away. Oh, a bit loose there from Viner. Trying to find Smith, gives it away, but again, Chelsea all ball. Wrexham seemingly all the threat. Paddy Shield. Well, they're yet to have a shot on target, and I'd have to say Arthur Okonkwo might have been thinking coming into this game he might have a big night where he needs to be very much involved, and possibly still could need a big night with the remainder of this game. But so far, he's had the deck chair out. He's been sunbathing in his own 6-yard box. Arthur Okonkwo, he's been that stress-free, and with that little work to do so far. That's nice from Liam Delap though. Shrugs off a man, finds Garnacho in a little bit of space here off the left, rolls it, cleared off the line, but it's gone in. And that is painful. Off the back of a Okonkwo who could do nothing about it. And that is a painful goal for Wrexham to concede. And Chelsea find a leveller. The first time Garnacho's really got into any space. And ultimately the ball was blocked. And the clearance comes off the back of the Wrexham goalkeeper. And who'd thought it was commentator's curse? It was. Said Arthur Okonkwo's had nothing to do all night. Well, there was nothing he could do there. It's not his fault. Again, Garnacho picks up the space on the left. He shoots. They try to clear it, Wrexham, and they clear it right into the back of their diving goalkeeper, who can do nothing and knew nothing about the situation until it was too late. Wrexham 1, Chelsea 1. Slice of luck for the Blues. And a slice of luck. I don't know whether they deserved it, but they certainly needed it. Wrexham 1, Chelsea 1. And now they will use that as a platform, Chelsea, with that leveller. Try and kick on in this game, but very muted celebrations from the Chelsea side of things. It is an awkward one to celebrate, really. You're gifted a goal by something that is out of everybody's hands, really. It's nothing. It's an accidental moment. As I said, it's unfortunate. It's unlucky, really, for Wrexham. They've done very little wrong at all defensively all evening so far. Neto's deep cross is well overhit. And I have to say, if we take this first half into consideration, I genuinely think Chelsea will be very lucky if they take a half-time kind of level scoreline at half-time. They'll be very happy with it because they've been nowhere near the level. This is beautiful quality. From Doyle in behind to Sam Smith and a beautiful finish. I mean, that's deserving. Beautiful goal. Chelsea won't care how they got the goal. They'll not care. They got it nonetheless, but you got to say, Chelsea find their leveller. Nice slice of luck. Sometimes you need, though, that slice of luck to go in your favour. Seems like we might be set up for another one of those big second halves here at the Stok Cae Ras. Let's hope so. Sanchez going long. 2 minutes of the first half to go. Thomason with the clearance. Goes out for the throw to Chelsea on the right. Badiashile. Garnacho down the left. Let's come back infield to Lavia. Sarr trying to poke it through, but no one there. And Okonkwo's there to retrieve for Chelsea, or for Wrexham, sorry. Okonkwo goes long again, but ball bobbles and Cleworth leaves it. Longman clears. Chester down by Tosin and fed back to his goalkeeper. Well, one shot on target for both teams. One goal apiece, albeit the Garnacho shot that led to the clearance that led to the goal technically is still a shot on target because he had the shot, but that's not directly how the goal came about. But they both have scored from one shot on target. Let's hope that continues. Neto. Dominic O'Brien, and then that's Yempong's low cross. Doyle with the miscued clearance, puts it behind for the corner. I think you just need to get to half-time here, Wrexham. Regroup, reset, and go. Unlucky, but we know what we can do, and we know what we were able to achieve for our majority of that first half. Believe in themselves, as we have 3 additional minutes at the end of the first half. Chelsea corner, right-hand side. Whipped into the box. Up and away by Hayam. Brought down by Garnacho on the edge. Fed it out wide to Neto on the right. Up against Thomason. Back to Garnacho. Eking a little bit of space. Tried to shoot, was blocked. Santos with the rebound. Flicked it in behind and followed behind by Dobson. Or sorry, Viner, apologies for the corner. That's what I mean. I think they just need to get to half-time here, Wrexham. Chelsea will push, try and find that second goal before the break, and that will be a real killer if they do find that. Chelsea for Wrexham. Will be a real killer for them. Ball in. Okonkwo had to throw a hand at that. Shot from range. Right at the Wrexham players blocking. And try and carry players up the field. Dobson was the furthest forward. Well marshalled. Ball found to Delap. Delap well dispossessed. One back though by Lavia. 90 seconds to go the first half. Wrexham 1, Chelsea 1. Sam Smith giving Wrexham the lead after just 18 minutes, but Arthur Okonkwo's unfortunate own goal has given Chelsea the leveller. An own goal that he didn't know very much about. Hato Hits it straight at Clearworth, who clears, trying to find Smith, who held it off well. Brought down by O'Brien, who's bundled over, but referee said no foul, and O'Brien tried to rescue it out to Thomason, but O'Brien went down again. That's going to be a free kick. I think if they regroup, come back out in the second half with one or two adjustments, Wrexham, and figure some things out, they can still be a major threat to Chelsea, because even though they are level, Chelsea, I don't really think we've seen anywhere near enough quality from the Blues to say that they will go kick on and dominate the remainder of this game and win. Free kick taken, swung to the back post to the edge of the area, done by Clearworth. Brought down on the edge by Smith, who undercooked it. And it's given Chelsea a breakaway chance. A ball in behind, a bit ahead of Garnacho. And well seen away by Longman. Nicely done. It was in a difficult spot, but he did well against Alejandro Garnacho. Clearworth. Rathbone. And that's going to call an end to the first half. A first half that was going so brightly for Wrexham until it wasn't. They took the lead through Sam Smith's wonderful 1v1 finish with that beautiful ball in behind from Callum Doyle. But it was Chelsea who found their leveller not long before half-time, when Arthur Okonkwo knew very little about it, when the clearance was knocked off his left arm and into the back of the Wrexham net. Chelsea have done very little, and to be very clear and very fair, in my opinion, I don't think they deserve to be level, but at half-time, it is all square in the FA Cup. It is Wrexham 1, Chelsea 1. Sure, one last kick. This is going to be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. Welcome back to the FA Cup live here on LFS, the fifth round. And at half-time at the Stok Cae Ras, it's Wrexham 1, Chelsea 1 in our second game of the day and our second game of the weekend. And we have two more to come for you across this weekend. We start tomorrow at 4:30. Leeds taking on Norwich at 4:30 tomorrow. And we'll round up all the action that has taken place since then. And it all builds up to the FA Cup quarter-finals the weekend of the 4th and the 5th of April. Right, big second half to come at the Stok Cae Ras. It's Wrexham 1, Chelsea 1. But Wrexham will certainly feel a little hard done by at this game's level. Second half next. Welcome back to FA Cup Live. Second half on the way in just a moment here at the Stok Cae Ras. Wrexham 1, Chelsea 1 at the break. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That would be greatly appreciated. And thank you very much for spending your Saturday evening with us here on LFS. So far, well, it was so far so good for Wrexham up until that unfortunate own goal from Arthur Okonkwo that he really didn't know much about, but the quality of that Wrexham goal from Sam Smith is pure beauty. And a second half with everything on the line. Whether Chelsea can complete the turnaround and get the job done and join their fellow Premier League sides in Arsenal and Liverpool in the quarter-finals, or will Wrexham continue their incredible home form in this competition? Haven't been beaten in the last 15 home FA Cup ties, Wrexham. So they will want that to continue. And this season, all three of their FA Cup ties have come at home. The previous two they've won. It's Forest on penalties and Ipswich Town. Can Chelsea's name be added to the list of victims of teams that have come to the Stok Cae Ras and left with their head really hanging low and with a disappointing result? And I have to say, Chelsea have to be much better. If they're going to come back and win this game, Chelsea, they need to show a lot more quality than they did in the whole of the first half. They were really below par, and I'm sure Liam Rosenior would have relayed that message to his players at half-time, because they were lacking real quality at all, Chelsea, in that first period, in the final third, and they were out pretty early before the second half got underway, about a few minutes before Wrexham come out for the second half, and clearly would have shared his message with his players and said, go out and get the job done. And we'll see if they can take heed, take control of this game. It's not been the possession that's been an issue for Chelsea. It's when they do progress further forward, there's no space, there's no gaps, they're not really moving very much. They're very lethargic. Their play is too slow, too laboured to really drag Wrexham out of position and create issues, create problems. And that's something Chelsea need to improve on. Santos to Neto. Held a little bit by Thomason, but let go. Neto plays it back to Tosin. Tries to go a little more direct, straight through to Garnacho. Caught in possession and sent cleared away by Cleworth. Again, popping it around here, Chelsea, but Wrexham have been pretty comfortable with them being able to do that. As I said, the whole way through the first half, they dominated the ball, Chelsea. Here's Viner. Just opportunity for Wrexham. Down the right-hand side, trying to cross was Longman. Blocked. That's going to be a corner. Played off Jarrell Harto. And the first corner of the second half. Lots of bodies in there. Whip ball. Got past the first man, didn't get past the second. Harto clearing it away. Longman to whip it back in though. Flicked on by Clayworth. Just over the crossbar. Good strong play though from Wrexham. When the corner doesn't work, they recycle it well, and Longman straight onto it to whip it back towards the area. And Clayworth was onside. Smith had strayed offside, but Clayworth was on. Rose up. Couldn't rise above the ball as it whipped in and kind of just headed it over the crossbar. The lap. Well held away from any sort of threat again. Wanted a foul, but referee said it was too soft. The way he went down. Dobson fires it through the lines. Poked towards Sam Smith by Viner. Now O'Brien out to Thomason. Back to O'Brien. Dobson now swings it out to the far right hand side. Longman. Clayworth's cross. Flick on. Was into the hands of Robert Sanchez. It was Lewis O'Brien with the flick. Clayworth's cross. Yeah, Longman cuts it back. Clayworth with the space, and O'Brien making the run in. Flicked it on, but Robert Sanchez got full grip to it. Just that extra little bit of creativity from Wrexham. Always making moves, always running in behind, always dragging players out of position. Always trying to find the next creative opportunity. That's a lovely ball in behind for Delap though. From Sanchez, Delap, 1v1. Lays it off to Achiampong. Neto back to Josh Achiampong. Whacked it off the head of Callum Doyle, who got in the way of it. Here's Harto. Out to the left-hand side comes Garnacho. Chelsea coming right back at Wrexham. Garnacho finds Lavia. Lavia will... Whether he was crossing or shooting, neither find the target. Goal kick. A reminder, if this game is level after 90 minutes, extra time and penalties will be needed to decide a winner. So far, the two ties that we've watched have been concluded in 90 minutes. And Arthur Okonkwo to take this goal kick. Nice little build up as he might have caught it, hurt himself a little bit there as he cleared it away. Got Okonkwo. Brought down by Thomason, but didn't get much further on it as Chiampong was on the scene, and Mamadou Sarr there tried to keep it in play, but had gone out for a Chelsea throw. Well, the question would stand, you know, if this game continues in the vein that it did in the first half, how long would it take for Liam Rosenior to go to his bench and say, not been good enough, I need different players on? And to be fair, what sort of players would he bring on? I mean, he's João Pedro, who has looked bright and strong in the last few games. He might be needed. As I said, he scored a hat-trick against Aston Villa in the week. So he's in fine form. As Jarrell Harto, adamant that he should have had a throw in there, but the decision goes the way of the home side, which certainly gets the backup of the Dutchman. Dobson does well to hold off the pressure. Longman flicks it over the top. Smith with the flick on header. It's chased by O'Brien. And Robert Sanchez nicely deals with it. O'Brien was charging down, but Chelsea kept calm and collected. Well, I did ask how long would it take for Chelsea to make subs. Well, not very long at all, because there's some movement already. 8 minutes gone of the second half, and it looks like Liam Senior is still very unhappy with what he's seeing from his team. And that's sloppy there from Andre Santos. Tried to play it down the right flank, played it straight out of play for a throw to Wrexham. Doyle measuring up a ball, goes short to Smith, who came deep, tried to link it up with a little 1-2, but here's Delap, who's got it strode under the loose ball. Well stopped by Hayam. Now Dobson. Lovely ball. Played into Viner. Now out to Longman on the right hand side. There's always options, I have to say. When Wrexham do have the possession, there's always options for them to play it too. Rathbone. Nice ball. Viner. Linking up with Cleworth. Viner trying to fight O'Brien. It comes central, but it was well marshalled off the ball there by Santos. And now Delap lays it for Garnacho. Breaking through. Garnacho! Across goal. And out the other end. Goal kick. Decent effort. Decent idea. Just an inaccurate finish in the end. Not too far away. Well, Mark Guiu looks to be the one coming on for Chelsea very shortly. No waiting around for Liam Senior. Neto. The lap was well mopped up again, but this time it's going to be a foul against Wrexham. The lap wins the free kick. Here's Romeo Lavia. Mamadou Sarr. Chempong has to come back to Tosin. Badiashile. Lavia pressed and just held on to it there. Found Sarr, who feeds it down the right for Neto. He's got options, lays it out wide at Chempong. Takes on a man, blocked well by Thomason. Cleared away by O'Brien. Looking for Sam Smith, who was just seen away again by Tosin, who I have to say, who lost that 1v1 earlier in the game and for the Sam Smith goal, but since Tosin has probably had the better of the Wrexham centre forward. Tosin. Sarr. Tosin again. Santos. Chempong to Sarr. Well, they're still waiting on this substitute being made, Chelsea. Mark Guiu is ready and waiting, but not quite there yet. Long ball towards Garnacho from Robert Sanchez, but very well seen out of play there by Ryan Longman. And that's going to be cued to the substitution. It's going to see a big change for Chelsea. And Mark Guiu's coming on to replace Mamadou Sarr, so it looks like they might go to back four Chelsea. Maybe Chempong will come in at right back, Hatta will go at left back, and then Badiashile and Tosin the centre backs, and then Guiu just might come into midfield. don't think Liam Senior's too secretive about what he wants to do there. He just held up his fingers with the 4 fingers up. So that looks like back 4 to me. Oh, that's a clash between Paddy Ashiel and Smith, was that? Actually, it's Tosin. And it's O'Brien. Referee said play on, but threw into each other. See it here, Tosin won the ball. Oh, well, actually, he doesn't. And O'Brien is just caught there by Tosin. Late. It is a free kick to Wrexham, nothing more. George Dobson over this free kick. What options does he have? Scans to look. Dobson whips it across, the flick on, finds its way toward Dominic Heam. Cuts it back, the shot from O'Brien, deflects around, drops for Doyle, he couldn't get the shot off, but he's trying to win the corner, it still stays in play. And then followed up by the unrunning Longman, I think that was, and it goes out for a throw. But the flick on from Chelsea actually helped out Wrexham sustain that attack. In the end, it comes for a Chelsea throw, but that set piece was sustained by Chelsea, not being kind of clear enough at getting the ball away from the danger zone. Oh, Sanchez, they've given it away cheaply here. Oh, Smith couldn't take advantage. Viner as well there. Here is Viner trying to reverse it. Well, Chelsea are looking still quite nervous and far from confident in this fixture. Robert Sanchez making some silly mistakes. Here's Thomason, 1v1 against that Champong. That Champong got the block, but Thomason wins a corner for Wrexham. I have to see this mistake again in a moment. Surely we'll get a replay, but very lucky that that didn't come to more than it did for Robert Sanchez, and George Dobson over to take this corner. Second corner of the half, 4th corner in total for Wrexham. Dobson to deliver from the left, right-footed, cleared away at the front post. And the shot from range from Thomason takes a deflection. Dobson will just leave that. It will be another corner. As long as they keep the pressure on, the crowd are enjoying it. Chelsea are looking ever more shaky. Dobson again. Right-footed. Flicked on. Down, and the shot calls for handball. It's still bubbling around as it's hooked away by Tosin. Oh, and now they've had a slip of their own. Longman gives it away to Garnacho, who's breaking away down the left. Longman still on the scene and recovers well to make the block. And is still battling Garnacho here down the sideline. And Garnacho recycles, but VAR, of course, in action. Any calls, any hints of handball or anything like that will clearly be watched and seen by VAR, but I think we are just going to play on. Neto. Santos. Check complete, no penalty. Romeo Lavia. Hato. Down the left-hand side comes Garnacho. Garnacho back to Lavia. Now Champong again. Right to Pedro Neto. Neto trying to dribble his way through and have a shot. Well blocked, but he receives it again right away. Dobson with the block that time. Hato. Garnacho reverses it to find Hato on the inside, but Clayworth's on the scene. Clayworth trying to stop Jarell Hato, but Hato gets away from him. Neto a bit loose, but he still got the ball somehow. And they force it! right across goal and out the other ends. Hato and Neto were never wanting to give up on that chance, and they were a whisker away from finding Chelsea a second goal. Whether Hato might have been offside anyway. Just zipped wide of that right post. Oh, we see the handball decision again. The shot from point blank range from Rathbone, really. Not very much that the Chelsea player could do there. This game's really sparked into life. 27 minutes of the 90 to go. Wrexham 1, Chelsea 1. Here's Lavia. Trying to force it down the right for Pedro Neto. Well, I have to say, up until that chance for Neto and Hato, where they did break the lines, it's very kind of perimeter based for Chelsea, if you know what I mean. They're all around the edge of the area. There's no one making runs in, no one trying to get on the end of crosses or anything like that. It's very kind of side to side. It's no one making penetrating runs through, no one driving from midfield, no one trying to create danger from the edge of the area. And it's going to trigger some more changes here. So Marc Cucurella is going to replace Jarell Hato, and Romeo Lavia is going to be replaced here by Dario Asugo. So Asugo and Cucurella on, replacing, of course, Lavia and Hato. So Chelsea have had all the subs so far, but the home team are going to make their first alterations of the game very shortly. Callum Doyle to take this throw deep in the Wrexham half. Down the sideline, away by Achiampong. Flicked on by Dobson. Away by Badia Shield, and out for another Wrexham throw a little further up the field now. Which Thomason is there, but I think they're going to make the subs first. And they are. So the double substitution's going to be incoming. Sam Smith, who got the scoring underway, a beautiful move and a wonderful finish to give Wrexham the lead through Sam Smith. The first shot of the game. He's going to be replaced by by Kiefer Moore, and Josh Windass is going to be coming on. He's going to replace Ollie Rathbone. So Rathbone and Smith off, Moore and Windass on. So more attacking, fresh legs for Wrexham in the final 25 minutes. Chempong under pressure as Wrexham relentless, and O'Brien wins the ball down the left. O'Brien clips it into the area over the head of Kiefer Moore. Sugo trying to keep it alive, but Dobson threatening all over them here. Relentless is the correct word, and Lewis O'Brien wins Wrexham a throw. Incredible play. Here is O'Brien again. Windass couldn't find a way through there. But again, wrestling it back was Lewis O'Brien. And Callum Doyle will just play it back to his captain, Dominic Hyam. And all the way back to Arthur Okonkwo. Well, the 68th minute. And we are 3/4 of the way through this FA Cup tie. O'Brien wrestling. Wins the better off Achiampong. Thomason's cross all the way through. Kiefer Moore was in the middle. And Cucurella had to direct it behind for the corner. Lovely threaded through ball again. O'Brien just wrestles Achiampong off the ball. Rolled it for Thomason. He fires it across with the left foot. And Cucurella, fearing the danger behind him, puts it behind for the corner, the Spaniard. As Phil Parkinson watches on, hoping that his side could have found the net there, but they continue to pose a threat again. Corner. Didn't beat the first man. Garnacho getting his head to that one, and Cucurella chasing to try and counter, but beaten to it by George Dobson. Longman. It's the two wing backs, or the two last players there for Wrexham, but a beautiful ball from Thomason. Finds Callum Doyle. He will cut it across, but too close to Robert Sanchez. Well, by this point in the two previous FA Cup ties, Chelsea were clear and already looking ahead to the draw for the next round, but their focus is very much still on this game needing to be won at this stage. You've got to say, Charlton, Hull and Wrexham may all be in the same competition. They may also be in the same league in terms of the championship, but in terms of this place under the lights in the FA Cup, one of the best atmospheres in this competition. They got some sort of magic just is created here, and you gotta say, there was a stat that I heard before the game. I wanted to leave it to the right moment. I'll tell you about it in a second, because here's Cucurella down the left and is well seen away there by Cleworth again. Cucurella. Throw finds its way to Liam Delap. Holding off Cleworth for the moment. Plays it back to Garnacho. Right, Sugo. Chiampong trying to beat his way around O'Brien. Finds Neto. Neto back to Sugo. Sugo under a bit of pressure, has to go backwards with it to Tosin. And all the way back to Robert Sanchez. Chelsea taking a few extra risks at the back here. Neto just about getting away from Thomason, and he's bursting forward here, Pedro Neto. First real time he's done that all day, and he's done just enough to stop him there, the defenders, but drops for Guiu. He has the shot. I think it took a touch there on the way through. Will be a corner. First real point I've actually said Mark Guiu's name since coming onto the field. Well over 10 minutes ago, Mark Guiu come on for Mamadou Sarr. Of this second half, Wrexham have the only shot on target of the second period so far. Chelsea 4 shots, none on target. 7 for Wrexham, 1 on target. Compare that to the first half, where Wrexham had 2 shots, 1 on target. Chelsea had 4 shots, 1 on target of their own. Corner, left-hand side. Swung in with the left foot. Away at the front post. Chiampong was the target. Cucurella will swing it back out to the left for Neto. Takes it down. Cuts it back across to Garnacho, who will shoot from range. And right down the throat of Arthur Okonkwo, who watched it all the way and wants to unleash his own team on the attack. Here's Callum Doyle. Dribbling forward. Taking his time to pick out the right pass. That was nice. O'Brien. Cross to the right. Dobson will take it down from the loose cross there from Longman. O'Brien. Longman. I like the patience of Wrexham. They always find the right passes, but they always make sure that at the right time. Don't force the issue. But not afraid to take a risk every now and again. It's nicely done. Doyle. All about the balance. O'Brien, Doyle again. Nice little 1-2s. Finds Kiefer Moore. Works it into space. Plays it across. And just behind Doyle. And Cucurella is again there to mop it up at the back post for Chelsea. Him and Santos link up as they try and get Chelsea forward. The clock continues to tick down on the 90 minutes. Reminder, if this game is level, after 90 minutes, extra time will be needed, and then if it's still level after that, a penalty shootout could be necessary. Here is Pedro Neto, trying to fire it across. Hit the side netting. Goal kick. Very narrow angle for Pedro Neto. Very difficult goal or shot to have from that sort of range. That sort of real tight angle, but he took it on and tried to kind of loft it across rather than fire it towards goal, but hit the side netting. Goal kick it was. And Conco goes long. Tosun with the header. Thomason heads it down. O'Brien flicks it over the top. Buddy Shield guides it back to his goalkeeper under no real duress. Well, the stat I wanted to tell you was the last time an EFL team knocked Chelsea out of the FA Cup was Bradford City at Stamford Bridge in 2015 when Jose Mourinho was manager. And who was the Bradford City manager back then? Phil Parkinson. Could his team, this time Wrexham, be doing the same to the Blues 11 years later? They still have work to do if they want to. That's a nice ball by Dobson. Deep delivery from Longman was just caught by Sanchez. It was targeting Kiefer Moore in the middle. Just over 15 minutes to go. Wrexham 1, Chelsea 1. Long time ago, Sam Smith with the first shot of the game on 18 minutes gave Wrexham the lead. And then an unfortunate own goal from Arthur Okonkwo levelled the game for Chelsea. They're away there with Windass and Moore. And Windass does well to play it off the Chelsea defender, and that's going to be a Wrexham throw again. Although more changes incoming. Going to see the introduction of Nathan Broadhead. He's going to replace Viner. So Zach Viner coming off and Nathan Broadhead going to be his replacements. So a further Wrexham sub. Some more fresh legs to try and help them across the line here. Still only a level game, but who knows, there could be a winner in this. Very much so. You've got a throw in down the right side, taking it short. And nearly all of them in Chelsea's half. Doyle, right to the left-hand side. Thomason. There is Broadhead, first involvement. Back to Doyle. Dobson. Doyle again, who couldn't get very far with that. And Mark Guiu trying to pounce on it. Ultimately, throw in will come the way of the home side. Well, another question could be made is, there is a very realistic possibility that these two could be playing each other in the Premier League next year. We won't get ahead of ourselves, but Wrexham, as I said earlier on, in the playoff places, and with Hull's defeat at home to Millwall, well in the grasp of Wrexham for 5th place, never mind 6th. As that's a late scrambling clearance there by Asugo. That's going to be another Wrexham corner. It was a Longman cross that Sugo made sure got nowhere past him, and ultimately a Wrexham corner. Atmosphere electric as always at the Stok Cae Ras. The FA Cup has been a joy for this team so far this season. Will that joy continue? Now for the delivery from the corner. Flicked on and actually flicked behind by a Chelsea head. Another corner will come, this time from the opposite side. Singing and clapping along, cheering their side towards victory. You can feel the anticipation from behind the goal in that stand. What they want, what they desperately hope for. George Dobson with the corner. Right footed delivery. Again, skipped away at the near post, but it drops. And the shot deflects it in! A deflection that goes in the way of Wrexham this time. Chelsea's goal was via an unfortunate deflection and clearance. And Wrexham back in front. Chelsea thought they dealt with it, but it came to the edge of the area. The strike was taken on. It took a deflection. At wrong-footed Robert Sanchez, and Wrexham are back in front. I said that stand behind the goal were desperate for a magic moment. Well, they might have just witnessed another one here. They've been the better side in this second half again. Chelsea have been well below their level. But again, it's Dobson's corner. Flicked away at the near post, but it drops down, edge of the area. The shot from Josh Windass, helped along the way by the little flick by Callum Doyle. And the man who created the first scores the second in a very extravagant manner. Wrexham 2, Chelsea 1. And another incredible moment in the FA Cup for Wrexham inside this stadium. But now there's 10.5 minutes plus the additional time for them to wait in anticipation for that final whistle. And it will feel like a lifetime, I'm sure. But I have to say, in every aspect of the game, Wrexham have been the better team. Chelsea have looked really, really lacklustre. Pedro Neto, Alejandro Garnacho, Liam Delap, lacking any sort of threat. And as I said, the Chelsea goal came from an unfortunate moment. Garnacho's one and only glimpse of goal. He'd had the shot on target. It was cleared away. Unfortunately, cleared into the back of the Wrexham goalkeeper. But other than that, Chelsea really haven't created too much. And now they've got no choice. They now need a goal to rescue their FA Cup campaign. Here's Liam Delap. Finds a little bit of space. And Doyle with a bit of defending this time. Not fully away though. Delap has another swipe at it. Cucurella keeps it alive. Asugo has to drop it back. Trying to recycle it quickly, Chelsea. Tosin. Down the right-hand side comes Neto. Again, a sea of red in front. Santos hits it right at the first man in front of him. Dobson, though, gives it back away. Santos flicking it through. Achiampong! 2-2. And just like that, Chelsea, who've been lacklustre, as I said, when they needed a goal, they found a goal. And it's back level again. Chelsea really desperately needed a moment of their own. And Josh Achiampong is there to find the finish again. It's a mistake by Santos initially. Dobson thinks he's got it under control, but he just kind of loses his balance. Santos wins it back, plays it through, and Achiampong was just stronger against Thomason, and he rifled it into the roof of the net. No chance for Okonkwo. 2-2. And this FA Cup tie doesn't want to stop giving us moments. And we've still got 8 minutes plus additional time. And as it stands, possibly another 30 minutes on top of that. 2-2. And I didn't want to say it, but when Wrexham took the lead, My thoughts went right back to that Nottingham Forest game where they went 3-1 up, quickly conceded afterwards, and were trying to hang on and conceded that late equaliser for 3-3. But now Chelsea don't want to wait around for extra time, they want to win it. Garnacho's cross, up and away by Thomas, and not fully away as Okonkwo rises highest and makes sure no one else was getting to it but him. Although there's a Chelsea player down, it is not actually I think it might be, is it a Chimpong? No, it's actually Mark Guiu. Oh, there's nothing in that. It's collision, but nothing more than that. It's not a foul, it's paying for one, but he's off the field, so no need to stop the game. And Mark Guiu being checked up before he's allowed back onto the fields. Well, another goal-filled FA Cup tie here in South Wales. That's a ball in behind. Thomason's made the run as he stayed onside. Thomason goes himself! Forced to save. The follow-up is headed wide. Keeper had no chance. Thomason with a strike that forced the save out of Sanchez. Great run in behind. Fires at a goal. Saved by Sanchez, and then the rebound headed towards goal. I think it's Windass that has the header. And he just heads it wide. Sanchez had no chance. He was on the ground. Had no chance getting anywhere near it if it was on target. And he just heads it wide of goal. Oh. Well, more Chelsea subs in coming then. Going to see the end of Liam Delap's night. Very quiet one for him. João Pedro, who scored a hat-trick a couple of days ago on the road, he's coming on, and Malo Gusto is going to join him. And leaving the field there is going to see the Chelsea goal scorer, Josh Achiampong. So Gusto and Pedro on, replacing Delap and Achiampong. Ooh, went down a little easily there. The referee said Malo Gusto. Here's Doyle. Well, is it a shootout for the finish here? I don't think either side are that excited about an extra 30 minutes to be played. There might not need to be. Here's another chance. Kiefer Moore! Right across goal. And out the other ends. Too narrow an angle. Broadhead that does well, drives towards the area. Moore's effort with his left foot. Just kind of gets it with his instep. And that's what carries it wide a goal. Oh, they're playing it from the back here. Chelsea under real pressure, but they do get it away. That could be dangerous. Very dangerous territory. O'Brien couldn't bring it down. Picked up by Santos. Now down the line comes Garnacho. 4 minutes plus additional time to go until we need another 30 minutes. As it stands. Pedro, little flick by Cucurella. Garnacho wrestling. Longman was there and cleared away by Clayworth. Took a deflection on the way through, which gets Wrexham the throw. Well, as I said, both sides don't want this to go on much longer than it needs to. Wrexham have a huge game here on Tuesday night when they host Hull. Two sides in the playoff places in the Championship, so a huge game to come for them in a few days' time. And Chelsea have a trip to Paris to think about for Wednesday night in the Champions League knockouts. So both teams in action in midweek. And the last thing they need is to play even more time between now and the final whistle. Even more motivation to try and find a winner. Callum Doyle. One ball from deep. Over the top for Lewis O'Brien. It was seen all the way by Tosin and all the way through to Robert Sanchez. Well, I have to say, albeit Chelsea have somehow found a way to level this game twice, at no point have I thought they've deserved to win this game. Sometimes you don't always get what you deserve in football. Here comes Garnacho, cuts it back, Cucurella left it, Pedro Neto off the crossbar. Picked up by João Pedro. Garnacho gonna go himself and just kind of overhead it to the back post goal kick. Well, Pedro Neto can't believe that he didn't find a Chelsea third. Cucurella left it. Pedro onto the end of it with the left foot. Bashes off the crossbar. Massive chance. What a game it's been in the second half. Much more impressive. Much more exciting from both teams in the second period. 21 shots combined in the second period, considering we had 6 whole shots in the whole of the first half. Certainly a lot more attacking intent from both teams. A lot more attacking production. Here's Dobson. Last minute of the 90. Dobson over the top. More to chase, but Gusto will usher that one out for a throw. How long will we add it on? That will be another question at the end of the 90 here. Doyle comes and chests it down. Finds O'Brien. Broadhead now to Thomason. Inside to Dobson. Nice little 1-2 with Moore. Broadhead's away. Broke away. Little tug there by Andre Santos. Wins it back. Oh, and a sliding challenge from Longman doesn't quite work out. Dobson absolutely raking his man down. Very cynical from Dobson. That should be a yellow card at the very least. And Garnacho is still down. Referee Peter Banks has a decision to make. And it is yellow. It's very cynical from Dobson. There was no attempt to play the ball there whatsoever. And quite a cynical foul on Garnacho, but the decision of a yellow card will stand after a quick VAR check. So, yellow card, the decision. We'll see it again. I mean, it's sloppy all round here. The early challenge that's poorly taken, and then Dobson just no attempt to go for the ball. Just make sure that Garnacho is not getting past him. And he does make sure of that. Yeah, he just catches the right knee of Garnacho. Although, after initially handing out the yellow card, we thought the VAR check was over. It apparently wasn't, and VAR have recommended an on-field review. So into additional time, and George Dobson might be in trouble. Initially given a yellow, the VAR says an on-field review is necessary. See it here. Oh yeah, the studs are up. He catches him. Might have just grazed him, but it's out of control. Yeah, we didn't see that the first time. And I think this is going to be a quick, simple decision. Peter Banks comes away from the monitor. And the signal. And after review, says he catches the opponent high with intensity. And he says it's serious foul play. So yellow card rescinded, red card given. And George Dobson is shown to the stands and to the dressing room. And a Wrexham team that have been fighting all night for every little inch that they could garner. He measured it wrong that time, George Dobson, and has paid the price. with a red card. Fine margins, but the correct decision, I think. And George Dobson shown his way off the field by the referee. I mean, I love the fact that Rob McElhenney's still applauding. The fact that he got his players sent off. I love that. 6 added minutes, by the way. We've played none of the additional minutes so far, so we could be going here till tomorrow night at this rate. Because we into the 3rd minute of additional time. We haven't played any of it. So we're probably going to 98, 99 minutes, possibly. But now with Chelsea with a man advantage, they now, within the next couple of minutes, ideally for them, find a winner. No need for extra time, and they're still through to the next round. And they've got an extra man to try and help them in doing that now. Wrexham's task has got even more difficult. All they need is one moment, though. We've seen that already tonight. Gusto, Cucurella, Gusto, little flick! Into the hands of a Okonkwo who was alert. Well, is this an FA Cup tie that might be crazy, might be dramatic, might be all-out blockbuster? But maybe not the happy ending that Wrexham were hoping for. And probably for a long while we're believing was on the horizon. Neto. Santos. Let's not forget, though, as it stands, they're still going to extra time. Chelsea need to find a goal to try and win this. Garnacho. Byline, flicks it across, and last touch off Mark Guiu. Goal kick. Okonkwo will take this goal kick. Flick on by Kiefer Moore from the long kick, but that will find its way through to the Chelsea goalkeeper, who will carry his team forward again through Cucurella to try and find a late winner for Chelsea. Else, extra time might just be needed, unless they can snatch a breakaway here at Wrexham. Broadhead does find it. Oh, ball is poor, well over the top. Kiefer Moore was the target. He was the furthest forward for Wrexham, but the ball from wide was a little bit disappointing. Here's Cucurella. Isugo. João Pedro guiding it out to the right hand side, taken in by Neto. Neto across, headed away. Not very far from danger though. Picked up by Chelsea right on the edge of the box again. Flicked in behind by João Pedro. Now Neto trying the cross, but blocked and cleared away again for the throw. 6 minutes are up. How long will the referee add on? I would suspect about a minute or two. Gusto's delivery. Away by Hayam, sorry. Kiefer Moore trying to hold it up to garner something out of this for Wrexham. Nice little turn on the ball there. They might be away here. Got an opportunity if they can find the right pass. That's threaded through beautifully. Here's Broadhead into the box. Broadhead trying the cross and hit it right at the first man. All the build up, nothing there in the end. Gusto can't get it very far away. Thomason picks it back up. Wrexham might have one key chance for a winner of their own. Kiefer Moore drops it for Thomason. Or Clayworth, sorry, from range, but it's straight down the throat of the goalkeeper. Decent straight strike there from Clayworth, though. Garnacho. João Pedro trying to return the favour, but shielding it behind was Ryan Longman for a goal kick. Incredible defending. Just as we saw that ball go through to Nathan Broadhead, you thought there was another moment on the cards, and Ultimately, Clayworth's effort from range after that whole moment was ultimately into the hands of Robert Sanchez. He caught it cleanly. Not cleanly enough, really, for it to stop Robert Sanchez getting anywhere near it. But looks like we've still got another minute in this. Wrexham 2, Chelsea 2, Wrexham down to 10, and a minute away from extra time being needed. They've won it back in the midfield there, Wrexham. They won't rule out a dramatic ending of their own, as Clayworth went down very easily there. And now a break of the ball for Chelsea on the other way. João Pedro. Now Garnacho. Can Chelsea snatch it late? Garnacho's cross took a deflection. Thomason has to fire it clear. That will go out for the throw. Seconds now tick away. Gusto. Sugo gives it away very cheaply. A lot of work still to do for Broadhead. He can't get it past Gusto. Tired legs, tired minds, it seems, at the moment, but they've still got a lot more to do if this stays as it is. João Pedro trying to link it up. Marquis couldn't keep it, and that's going to call an end to 99 minutes of normal play between the sides. Extra time incoming. Another 30 to come to separate them. But after 90 and more, it is finished. Wrexham 2, Chelsea 2. Extra time on the way next. Do stay with us. Sure, one last kick. This is going to be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. Welcome back to FA Cup Live. The first half of extra time between Wrexham and Chelsea's on the way in just a moment. What a crazy FA Cup tie we've had so far in this one. It feels like a lifetime ago that Sam Smith gave Wrexham the lead in the first half. That first shot of the game. An unfortunate Arthur Okonkwo own goal then got Chelsea level before half time. And into the second half, actually, Wrexham continued to be the better team and actually created so many more chances. Callum Doyle, who set up the first goal, scored the second for Wrexham. For no sooner was it 2-1 than it was back to level pegging again when Chelsea found a second of their own, Josh Achiampong. And then it took another twist this game when George Dobson, initially given a yellow card, referee was told to go to the monitor and rectified that call, and a red card was given. So Wrexham down to 10. It's 2-2 with two 15-minute halves to play. And the last time Wrexham were here, they progressed. That was against Premier League opposition in Nottingham Forest in round 3. It was 3-3 after 90 minutes. It went all the way through extra time, and it went all the way to penalties. And Wrexham won on spot kicks. On 4-3 on spot kicks. And that late save from Arthur Okonkwo. But a long way to go before that is the case. A big 30 minutes to come for these home fans. Ryan Longman's been replaced, by the way. Substitution for Wrexham. Of course, both teams get an extra substitute when extra time is given, so both will have 6 total subs. And Ryan Barnett is on to replace Ryan Longman for Wrexham. Waiting on the referee. Whistle goes, and we're back underway here at the Stok Cae Ras. Carla says, dude, great play-by-play commentary, no stutter steps, great commentary during lulls in play. Hats off to you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much. And extra time is certainly when you earn your money, because very little happens usually in extra time, and you have to waffle your way through an extra 30 minutes that you probably weren't expecting to waffle your way through. Here's Garnacho. Spray it back across to Malo Gusto, who strode forward. He will whip it in, and the flick on is wide from Mark Guiu. Had limited involvement since he came onto the field, Mark Guiu. He's been in and out of the Chelsea team. He's actually, not mistaken, the first substitute that Liam Rosenior made this evening, the 20-year-old Spaniard. And scored 3 goals this season for Chelsea, all in cup competitions: Champions League, League Cup and the FA Cup. And in terms of the FA Cup, Mark Guiu, he's hoping he can have an impact again. He scored and assisted in the 5-1 win for away at Charlton in round 3 in Liam Rosenior's first game in charge. Can he have similar impact again here this evening, Mark Guiu, in extra time? Josh Windass trying to find Kiefer Moore, but that was well shielded by Buddy Shield. Cucurella. Santos. Isugo to Pedro Neto. Down the right hand side it comes to Malo Gusto, who's gone wide this time and gets the block out of Thomason. Throw into Chelsea. Of course, Chelsea with the extra man don't need to rush the 30 minutes. They've got the extra advantage. They can build a bit of momentum. Try and pen Wrexham in. Pile on the pressure, but it's actually when Wrexham have been sitting deep and out of possession, they've looked strong all night. Chelsea have been unable to break them down on too many occasions, but when they did was when they needed to most, and that was to find that second goal. Barry Shield. Tosin out to the right hand side comes Malo Gusto. Neto back inside to Isugo, whose right footed effort is right across goal and behind for a goal kick. Now Daniel says, do you do this as a job? Well, yeah, partially. It's not my full-time job, but yes, it is partially. Also up because I absolutely adore it. One thing about it, when I started this a number of years ago, it wasn't a job. I don't still see it as a job, partially, but you know what I mean. It's more of a hobby. that I quite enjoy. Right now, I'm quite enjoying this one. Neto skipping away from challenges. Couldn't skip away from that one, though. Nicely done by Lewis O'Brien, who has played all, 90, even over 100 minutes, considering all the additional time we've had. And he still does not look anywhere near tired. Lewis O'Brien. Cucurella. Garnacho. On the left-hand side, chops in Faye, links it up with Pedro. And the shot from Santos. Easily gathered by Arthur Okonkwo, just kind of guided towards him in a way. It was more of a pass towards the goalkeeper than a shot, really. Broadhead skipping away. 1 and 2 tackles, but ends up running out of room down that left-hand side. Excuse me. Badiashile. Cucurella. Nice ball into João Pedro. Has changed the game since coming on. Neto's clip ball and not fully cleared. Garnacho trying to work the angle. Fired across. And the shot from Guiu is caught by Arthur Okonkwo. The sheer amount of bodies denied Mark Guiu a clean shot at that. And when it did get a connection from the Spaniard's foot, it was smothered into the hands of Arthur Okonkwo. Saved by the sheer amount of players in that area. And surely nothing more than that. But this is what extra time might have in store for us. Wrexham might get 1 or 2 half chances on the breakaway if they can carve them out. But it's going to be a lot of Chelsea attacking, keeping the ball, penning Wrexham in. Cucurella down the line to Garnacho. Back to Mark Cucurella. Gives it back to Santos. Now Sugo plays it back out wide to the right. Neto. Sugo's cross. Garnacho! Well, I believe that's gone in. And it's going to count. They look like they weren't too sure there, the officials, whether or not there was a very, very confused look. Garnacho with a finish, but that was very strange. That was incredibly strange. It is 3-2, but how quick that shot was taken. There was a lot of confusion there, whether he's onside, whether is he onside. See it here. Sugo's cross, he's miles onside. See this shot. It goes in and back out again off the underbar at the back of the net and bounces back out as if it's come off the post, which confused everybody. Confused everybody but him. He went away celebrating. Everybody else looked around going, what happened? Chelsea do have a goal. It's 3-2. Even Liam Rosenior was questioning it. Well, Chelsea do take the lead. And now it's all on Wrexham to try and find another goal to keep their FA Cup hopes alive. That is incredibly bizarre. It's not in a pocket for this game, though. Here's Josh Windus. Finds Kiefer Moore. His cross was into the hands of Sanchez from the cross. Still a long way to go. That's what Wrexham can hold on to. Lots of time. 23 minutes across the extra time still to go. But they are up against it. No doubt. Real Stitch says, real stick? Or realistic? What? Oh, honestly. Is there a goal line technology? Yes. There's VAR as well. Garnacho. But it definitely clutched the line, there was no doubt about it. But the way it happened in real time, it was very confusing for everybody. The only one that was very certain of it was Garnacho. And right he was. Just before that, I was about to say about how the impact of João Pedro coming onto the pitch has really changed the game for Chelsea. Dropping deeper, not really just like Liam Delap. They're very different players. And Liam Delap is more of that kind of the target man, stays up, kind of pens the defence back in a way, kind of leads the line. But João Pedro can drop deeper, play passes, link things up from deep. And that's what Chelsea needed. Someone causing a threat from the edge of the area, linking everything up. And it did, and it has, remarkably changed the way they've played. But and rightfully, they do now lead. But overall, they've had to ride their luck a lot tonight, Chelsea. They're going to make another change. Of course, their 6th substitution, which you're allowed to have in extra time. Jesse Derry is on to replace Pedro Neto. Jesse Derry, 18 years old. And he played in the previous round in the 4-0 win over Hull City at the MKM Stadium. He came off the bench late in that game. Cucurella cutting out that long deep ball, but they'll go again. And there's a runner on for it. Down the right hand side, ball played across. Kiefer Moore on the turn, couldn't take any of the ball. It's a good ball from the wide area. And ultimately, Kiefer Moore was unsure. Oh, a little bit of a clash here. Jesse Derry's down. And Thomason is the one who was in the mix with the challenge. Yellow cards come out from the referee. He has to become the man to break everybody apart. And the yellow card is out from the referee. And it looks like Thomason's going to get that booking for his challenge on Jesse Derry there, George Thomason. Oh, yellow it is. Yeah, it's a foul. It's late. It's nothing more than yellow though. Foul and the yellow card is completely correct. On the last few minutes of the first half of extra time, and it's eventually all plain sailing, it seems, for Chelsea. Got the point of the goal lead, they've got the man advantage, and they've seemingly eradicated the Wrexham attacking threat. But how quickly things can change inside this stadium. I said they're not unused to crazy games and crazy endings. Kiefer Moore wins the header, but Broadhead heads it right to Santos, who can retrieve for Chelsea. By the way, we're into it so much into extra time, so late in this game. The next game is kicked off. Newcastle against Manchester City is now underway. They kicked off at 8 o'clock, so it is underway there at St James's Park. We'll update you while we're live and if anything happens in that game. Here's Garnacho, who, as it stands, would have the winning goal for Chelsea. Garnacho, who also has played the whole game so far. It's his 7th goal of the season. Actually, the majority of his goals have come in the League Cup. 4 of his 6 previous goals tonight, coming into this game, were in the League Cup. Has scored in the Champions League and the Premier League, 1 each, and gets his first goal in the FA Cup this season. Here tonight. Only scored in the FA Cup on 2 previous occasions, Alejandro Garnacho, and they were both for Manchester United in previous seasons. As it stands, his goal is what is getting Chelsea through, like their fellow Premier League opponents in Liverpool and Arsenal, with away wins to progress to the quarter-finals, unless there's something of another twist in this very dramatic, never-ending cup tie. And never-ending in a good way. Very entertaining this second half. And the second half was very enjoyable to watch. Is there more drama, though? Wouldn't rule it out. That's a good ball by Doyle. A rare foray forward here by Thomason into Chelsea's half. But again, in no rush to panic to win it back, Chelsea. Just be patient and they do win it back. Badiashile. Into Santos. Back here to Asugo. Santos. Pedro. Just popping it around now, Chelsea. Last few seconds of the first half of extra time. And a big next 15 minutes to come for Wrexham if they can conjure up another opportunity. And really take it all the way to spot kicks, like they did against Nottingham Forest in round 3. Well, I thought it was the last minute of the last few seconds of the first half extra time. 3 added minutes on the end of it. I mean, how can you add time onto extra time? I mean, Jesus. Santos. João Pedro linking up with the Malo Gusto. João Pedro rolling it through. Cucurella goes down, wanting something. Not going to get anything. Cleared away by Wrexham. Looked in danger again there, the home team. Marc Cucurella's attempt to win a penalty falls on deaf ears. And the referee didn't even wave it away. Said nothing, really. Badiashile trying to loft it forward. João Pedro will pick up the second ball. That will just pulled a little bit there. It's going to get Chelsea a free kick by Josh Windus, giving away that foul. Yeah, just clipped there by Josh Windus. Foul it is. Free kick now for the Blues. Arthur Okonkwo trying to set up his wall against this Chelsea free kick in a decent area. Slightly to the left of goal. I haven't got quite the range on it just yet, but I'll let you know. Garnacho is the one standing over it. Get the wide angle, that would be fantastic. Well, here we are, about 25, 26 yards out. Slightly left of goal. Perfect for a right footer, which Garnacho is. Here is Garnacho, right footed, and Okonkwo made sure it went over the bar. Might have just dipped at the last second, but Okonkwo wasn't going to leave it to chance. Puts it behind for the corner. Yeah, well carved out opportunity. Well created. It might have just dipped. But Arthur Okonkwo can't afford to take chances like that. And does well to palm it over for the corner, which Garnacho will take. Going to whip it in. Right footed. Headed away at the near post. Kept in play though. Didn't go behind. Garnacho will strike from a narrow range. And comes to no one but Callum Doyle at the back post, who might spring a breakaway here for Wrexham. Right at the end of this first half of extra time. Bodies flooding forward. Can they find something? Kiefer Moore tried the shot. Was blocked by Gusto. And that's going to call an end to the first half of extra time. All that hard work. And we have the final seconds of the first half of extra time. Big second half on the way. Chelsea lead after Alejandro Garnacho's goal. in the 96th minute, the 6th minute of extra time. Another 15 on the way in just a moment. Welcome back to FA Cup Live in the 5th round on this Saturday evening. Already this weekend, we've seen Liverpool and Arsenal progress from their respective away ties in the FA Cup. Wolves were knocked out by Liverpool in Mansfield of League One, narrowly knocked out by Arsenal at 2-1 earlier this afternoon. We've come all the way to this one, which kicked off 2.5 hours ago, this game, and we have another 15 minutes to go to make sure that we have a winner. As it stands, Chelsea are the team that would be going through, but still another 15 minutes to play. And so far, we're into the late game of the FA Cup today. 8 o'clock kickoff, Newcastle against Manchester City. All Premier League tie at St James's Park. It's goalless after 11 minutes of play. We'll keep you right up to date with that one. A reminder that we do have more action for you tomorrow. Leeds against Norwich is our huge game that we have for you in FA Cup Sunday from Elland Road tomorrow, 4:30. Right, Wrexham are going to make another change, half-time and extra time, and the man who's got key involvement in both goals, Callum Doyle, his race has run. He's done everything he could for his team tonight. He's been replaced by Lewis Brunt. And 15 to go. What can Phil Parkinson's side conjure up, if they can, to maybe rescue this game? If they could. As I told you earlier this evening, if you weren't here, Wrexham are vying to get to the quarter-finals for the first time since 1996-97. That was also the last time they were in this round of the competition. They beat Birmingham 3-1 in the 5th round in that season to get to the quarter-finals. Only on 3 other occasions have they made it to that range, and none since that date in 1997. Well, the two managers at loggerheads there, Phil Parkinson and Liam Senior. Phil Parkinson a little bit peeved off at a decision there, and his fellow head coach, albeit for the opposing team, and doesn't agree. AK says, gotta say, your commentary's fantastic, got a real professionalism to it. Kudos, man. Thank you very much indeed. It says, Wrexham are such a good little team. They got high morale as a squad, well looked after, great staff. Many other teams would learn from those guys. 100%. Well, really well run. And community based as well, which can be forgotten a lot when it comes to football. I have to say, Liam Senior has not cut a happy figure at all tonight, and I can understand why. His team have made it very difficult for themselves. They were well below par all the way through the game. And genuinely, with 5 minutes to go, if Wrexham had have won this game in normal time, I genuinely don't think Chelsea would have had many complaints, because they weren't good enough. They weren't actually playing well enough until they probably had that spell after Wrexham scored that second goal. They came alive and found that equaliser, and then have dominated extra time so far, expectedly, with the extra man. But other than that, Chelsea have been second best for the majority of this game. But as I said in the Arsenal game earlier, it doesn't matter at the end how well you play or ultimately the performance. It's the result that matters. You can play your best game and still lose. You can play your worst game and still win. It's the result that matters, and Chelsea come away with progression to the next round. That's all they'll care about. But I have to say, they've rode their luck a lot this evening. That equaliser in the first half was so unfortunate for Wrexham, and then the second goal, well carved out, but again made it tricky for themselves in that position in the first place to be behind to try and find another equaliser. Jesse Derry, played back to Gusto. Cucurella trying to link it up with Gusto. Came off the foot of Gusto, rolled into the hands of Arthur Okonkwo. Time is of the essence. That's lovely from Kiefer Moore, linking up with Broadhead. He's got options wide. He goes to the right. Finds Barnett. Kiefer Moore bundled to the ground. Barnett's cross. Away by Jesse Derry. Not far clear though. Here's Josh Windass. The flag's actually going to go up for offside. Although actually, I thought it was offside. Seemed like it was offside, but he's actually pulled it back for a foul, the referee. I said Kiefer Moore was bundled off the ball. The referee's actually pulled it back for a free kick. So we'll see this again. So, played out wide. And Kiefer Moore, he's just kind of shoulder barged by Malo Gusto. I mean, that's very cynical. Well picked up by the referee. Free kick, though, right on the edge of the box. Very central. Maybe slightly to the right. And is this the slice of luck that Wrexham possibly need? Is there another twist in the tail? Maybe. They all hold their breath inside this stadium. The end of which they found a goal which they thought was their winner. The second through Callum Doyle. Can they carve another one out to rescue this tie in extra time? Broadhead and Windass over it. Josh Windass surely will be the taker, you would expect. Can he find a way to tie it up again? Still 10 minutes of extra time to go. Windass! Shot well over the crossbar. Well off target. Yeah, it's a very difficult one. When we talk about closer the better, but sometimes it's too close and you can get it up and over the wall but not dipping back down in time, and that was the case there. He got it up and over the wall but couldn't get it back down in time. And that's gone for a goal kick. Daniel says, any unlikely favourites to go on and win the cup? Well, it all depends on your draw, but I mean, you got to say closely battled games. I mean, Fulham have got a tie they probably feel they should win tomorrow. Sunderland will have a tie they'll feel they can win. Leeds and Norwich as well will be a good game, but the Premier League side should favour themselves in that. So there's some ties where the Premier League sides tomorrow will feel they get a quarter-final place, might get a nice home draw, and albeit it'll probably be almost exclusively Premier League teams. It's a very realistic possibility that the final 8 teams of the competition will be Premier League sides, but you know, when it gets to the quarterfinals, you expect to play the best teams, you expect to play the biggest opponents, and who knows? When we saw Crystal Palace do it, came out of the blue and won the competition last season, strode their way through everybody, so it is possible. And change once again for Wrexham. Max Cleworth's going to be replaced by Davis Keeler-Dunn, it is. And it's going to be their final change of the game. All flicked in behind. Kiefer Moore's on the run. He's taken down. Keeler-Dunn's charging into the box, but he's giving it back to Broadhead, who was, well, stopped by Santos, but quickly fed back in by Thomason. Broadhead down the left. Back to Thomason. Rolls it into the middle. Can't face the goal. O'Brien feeds it wide. Thomason's whip ball. It's deep. It's headed on. and headed wide. The deflection, though, aided it wide, and that will be a corner. Kiefer Moore, you were waiting for the net to ripple. My goodness me. Beautiful ball by Thomason. Stood it up right to the back post. Kiefer Moore, that is an incredible bit of defending. Tosin Rose, along with Kiefer Moore, and if he didn't get anything to that, if he didn't, that would have been 3-3. Corner it is, though. Whipped in, flicked on this time, and forced all the way in. Whether it was directly going in or helped along the way, it's found the back of the net. They were inches away moments ago. And from the following corner, Wrexham, with 10 men, are on level terms again. 3-3. We said Chelsea would be kicking themselves if they didn't get through from that position. A goal up and a man up. Well, have they ever heard of the racecourse effect? Because, my goodness me, there is some powers at play at this stadium. Although, oh, does he touch it in from an offside position? Oh, has Brunt ruined it? Because was that header going directly in? I said whether it was helped along its way. I think Brunt might have got contact, but was he offside? Oh, no. Oh, no. I think this might be ruled out from what I can see. Oh, my goodness. If he'd have left that, I think that was going in anyway. It's Kiefer Moore that gets the flick on, but Brunt follows it in. He definitely makes contact. He definitely heads it in. But whether he's offside or not is the question. If he's off, obviously it's not a goal, obviously. But they don't like VAR inside this stadium. That's no doubt. Well, they're drawing the lines. They're checking it to make sure. Peter Banks waits. I don't think it's going to stand. And that is going to be ruled out. No goal is the decision. Offside is the call. And that is another heartbreak. But I said if he'd have left it, Kiefer Moore's header might have been going in anyway. But that's a pointless statement to make. It helps absolutely no one. It is back to 3-2. And you can't help but feel a little bit gutted by that. Really. Completely neutral. I don't support either team, but it's so harsh. It's the correct decision, but sucks the life out of it, doesn't it, though? By the way, it's all happening at St James's Park as well. Newcastle have found the net, but VAR are involved in that one too. Harvey Barnes seemingly has given Newcastle the lead, it looks like, against Manchester City. I hope for Wrexham's sake and for Brunt's sake that ball from Kiefer Moore was going wide. And that when he headed it in, he headed it towards goal rather than it was going in anyway. But I have to say, I told you coming into this one, the teams that are used to VAR are going to outnumber the teams that aren't used to VAR in these late stages of the FA Cup. But a Wrexham team that aren't usually used to it in the Championship, they don't have it, come into the FA Cup and, albeit in previous rounds, wouldn't have had it, now do. It is a big thing to get used to. And when it goes against you, you can't help but hate it. And that's the realistic fact of it. The only thing they can probably hold on to is the fact that they have scored. They can try and do it again. There's minutes remaining. 2.5 of extra time plus whatever the referee adds on. I'm sure will be added time due to the VAR check for the goal that wasn't a goal. Here's Garnacho, whose goal still stands as the winner at the moment. Part of me as well, though, goes, when you get to extra time, you want to see a penalty shootout. You've got this far. Give us a penalty shootout to enjoy. Malagusto, a bit of a lazy ball there. Well blocked by Thomason. Broadhead doing all the hard yards from midfield. Ball comes out to Thomason. Played inside to Lewis O'Brien. Looking for options. Thomason was smart. Reversed it back into the midfield, and Broadhead skips away from a tackle. Plays it to Caoimhan Ferris, who backheeled it. Thought he got away with it. There's Nathan Broadhead, and actually there's going to be a foul against Wrexham here. Caoimhan Ferris standing over Cucurella, who he feels is taking liberties, but it's all kicked off again. Frustration, anger, emotions. Well, I mean, I think it's a little bit much from Caoimhan Ferris, to be honest. If Mark Cucurella was fouled, he was fouled, but you lose the ball, Broadhead's got it, you've got a chance still. There's no need to continue with that battle. He's going to get a yellow card for his troubles there. Caoimhan Ferris standing above his opponent in an aggressive manner. See it here. Cucurella gets the ball away. He follows through. It's a foul. It is a foul. And then he just stands over him as if he's dived. And it's just unnecessary, really. He goes, locks heads with Benoit Badia's shield. Alejandro Garnacho's also been given a booking for waving an imaginary yellow card. How pathetic. Right, additional time on top of extra time, is there? How long? 30 minutes are up. Well, Callum Doyle's won Emirates Player of the Match, and I can't disagree at all. Actually, completely agree. He run the show for Wrexham. 5 minutes on top of the 30. Still a lot of time to go. Maybe I was right. I was tongue-in-cheek talking about we play the next tomorrow night. Maybe we will. Long clearance. Oh, Badia's shield with an awkward header. Caoimhan Ferris trying to pounce on it. And they get it away, scrambled, clear for the moment, Chelsea, but it's not fully dealt with. Down the right-hand side, clip back across, drops for a man, the shot! Oh, just wide. That was Lewis O'Brien. Slaps the ground. Beautiful chance, but not taken. Whoa. Gotta say, you can't help but get dragged into this, drawn into it. It was a great effort, just curled wide. Oh my God. Such a huge chance from Lewis O'Brien. Just spun wide of the left post. I have to say, I don't know how the fans of either of these two teams are watching this game. My nerves are wrecked that I don't even support either team. What a great game of football, though. An incredible game. I have to say, Chelsea continue to make it really hard work for themselves. We forget the fact that Wrexham have a man less on the pitch right now. I've had all the way through extra time. But still they fight on as if it's 11v11, and they're desperate, and that's what carries them on. Thomason with a heavy touch. Asugo puts it out for the throw, but it keeps them up the field and gives them a chance. Brunt O'Brien. Fed wide to Thomason. Whips it in. Oh, clearance there by Tosin off Broadhead, behind for the goal kick. Clock ticks away. 2 minutes of the 5 added to go. I don't know how. I mean, can we calculate how long was added on in this whole game? I'll find it out. In terms of additional time. 23 additional minutes. 6 in the first half, 9 in the second, 3 in the first half of extra time, and 5 in the second half of extra time. 23 combined added minutes on top of 90. On top of 120, actually. So 143 minutes. That's well out of play from Thomason there. No rush here from Chelsea. Charlotte says, really love your commentary on the games. You definitely have a voice for it. Thank you for your hard work. Love from Canada. Thank you very much indeed. AK says, honestly, he feels like he's the actual announcer. He's that good. Someone give this man a full-time announcer career. Thank you very much indeed. Only John Palmer says, Chelsea's attitude towards the game is really annoying. Why are we underestimating Wrexham? Well, I've said it before. I think Chelsea have been second best tonight. But ultimately, they're the one heading through. Here's another chance to really put it to bed. And that's going to seal it. João Pedro, hat-trick in the week. A goal to seal it in the dying embers of extra time. And that is going to put beyond all reasonable doubt. Wrexham are out. Chelsea are through. And that was probably the relief and sigh of relief that Chelsea fans have been desperately waiting for so long. It comes at the end, a 125th minute of this game. My goodness. 4-2, game, set, match. And Chelsea will be like Arsenal and Liverpool, booking their places in the quarter-finals. All three away sides so far having won. Newcastle are actually winning at home against Man City at the moment. That still stands. We wait on the final whistle. And there it is. Peter Banks calls to an end to a game that had 143 playing minutes. One of the longest games of the season for these two teams. I'm sure it felt never-ending for those Chelsea fans who felt time and time again it was never over. And for those Wrexham fans, it couldn't be slow enough, really. Honestly, they gave it an incredible shift, the Championship side. They were more than the better team tonight. Certainly in the first 90 minutes when it was 11v11. Sam Smith opened the scoring with the first shot of the game. An unfortunate own goal from Arthur Okonkwo levelled it for Chelsea before the half. And then to the second half, Wrexham retook the lead when Callum Doyle turned provider to finisher. On the 78th minute, Josh Achiampong then found Chelsea's second leveller to make it 2-2. George Dobson was shown a red card, and that took us to extra time, which Alejandro Garnacho gave Chelsea the lead for the first time on the night in the 96th minute before João Pedro put the seal on it in the 125th minute. A crazy FA Cup tie. It sees the Premier League team through, but like Arsenal this afternoon, the EFL side gave it more than a good go. And I have to say, have made themselves proud, definitely. Final score after 100, and as I said, 143 playing minutes. It is finished. Wrexham 2, Chelsea 4. Confirmation of that tie, along with the two earlier games in the FA Cup 5th round. Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool are all through to the quarter-finals. Newcastle are leading Manchester City by a goal to nil. St James's Park, Harvey Barnes with a goal in that one. That is looking like Newcastle want to find a way through, but at the moment, a long way to go. Into tomorrow's action, Fulham take on Southampton, Sunderland head to Port Vale, and our big game at 4:30, where we will recap all of the scores. Leeds take on Norwich, 4:30 tomorrow from Elland Road, and we finish on Monday night as West Ham take on Brentford in an all-Premier League tie on Monday, 7:30, and we will have the draw for the quarter-finals before kick-off, around about 7:10 on Monday nights. And it's all building up to the FA Cup quarter-finals, which take place in 4 weeks' time, the weekend of the 4th and 5th of April, Easter weekend on LFS. But that is it. Hollywood ending wasn't to be tonight for Wrexham, but Chelsea didn't make it easy for themselves. Despite being a goal up and a man up going into extra time, they needed VAR to deny Wrexham a leveller and then get a fourth of their own very, very late. An unbelievably crazy cup tie. You expected nothing less, though, when it was Wrexham were involved, and Chelsea are heading through. Good night.